tonight on Ctv3 News. Violence erupts in Guinea-Grass as one teen is stabbed in the throat while trying to defend his friend. Police make an arrest. PUP Municipal Convention aspirant Thomas Zetina withdraws his candidacy amid ongoing police investigation. Zetina's exit leaves Shahari Rogers' Slate 1 candidate short, but despite the setback, she remains focused. And the draft broadcasting bill proposes licensing for online broadcasters in Belize. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026.
There's going to be 5 modules that we will be looking at. The first one would be the duties of traffic wardens, power of arrest, and the legislative amendments as it relates to DUI. The second module looks at report writing, and then we look at motorcycle helmets and its standards. On Wednesday, we'd look at the proper use of breathalyzers, and then we'll do some training related to that. On Thursday, we then look at electronic evidence as it relates to the changes in legislation and the use of the body cams and dash cams. And on Friday, of course, we'll be doing a simulation on a case file preparation.
Please remember, the rules are there for a reason. The regulations are there for a reason. It's not to bypass them. It's to ensure that you protect the citizens of Belize.
We're not here to just teach you. We're also here to learn from you. You are the ones who are on the streets every day doing traffic enforcements. So you know what are the issues that affects you and should be able to guide us so that we can correct those issues.
At the beginning, it was a bit challenging because it sounded so good and so promising that I think people were reluctant in embracing the idea. But after 2 years in this NHI program, the perception of people and the usage of people for the services that we offer is very much appreciated. And people are using all the services that we have. And our population has grown a lot. We actually have registered, which by the way I have to mention this, we never expected to grow this fast. We are at 12,000 and plus registered patients with us right now. And the numbers are growing on a daily basis, I would say. For the general physicians and the specialists that include the gynecologists, the pediatrician and the internist. And now we have a nutritionist, it's $2, which is very accessible to people. And when it comes to the laboratory or the images, it's just a 10% cost that they pay for the whole service that is offered. If we have a healthy community, then I would say that the whole country itself is going to benefit from it, because a healthy community is going to be successful economically as a whole. That is my vision of the NHI. Its service, its purpose.
Today will be the inauguration of the backup water system. This will be able to assist the Pomona Water Board to expand, and if there's a breakdown with the current system, this can also be a backup. There are times when, especially in the dry season, when the current system might run low or might run dry, and that by itself creates a problem to fetch water. So we are hopeful that if this is not used as much right now, when the other system runs low, this will kick in.
We must ensure that people have access to clean, safe, potable water, just like everybody else across this country. What you see here today is an investment of over $160,000. It includes all the pipes that you see here. We also have other accessories. We have a backup generator. We have the solar system. And we also have a booster pump.
The most difficult part that hinders development is the access of water. We have reduced significantly the amount of people that were deprived from accessing a basic need such as water.
I am elated, very happy to be here, receiving the system. I think everybody would be very happy, very happy.
When we call it, we have no water, no nothing. That was an empty spot, but it's home now. They have a pipe right out there, so it's still okay, just that we had to reach up to get the water. I cannot wait to have it reach to our door.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. An 18-year-old man from the village of Guineagrass is recovering after being stabbed in the throat during a late-night altercation in the same village, an incident that has resulted in Brian Bull being formally charged with grievous harm. The violent incident unfolded shortly before midnight on Sunday at the newly inaugurated gas station where the victim had been socializing. According to information obtained, the incident occurred at approximately 11:40 p.m. when Bull reportedly arrived at the gas station. Police reports indicate that Bull recognized one of the young men gathered there, someone with whom he had previously had a misunderstanding. Investigators believe Bull allegedly armed himself with a knife and moved to confront the individual. During the confrontation, the 18-year-old victim, identified as Adan Montalvo, reportedly intervened in an attempt to stop the dispute from escalating. It is alleged that Bull then redirected his attention to the teenager and stabbed him in the throat. The injured teen was immediately transported by a friend on a motorcycle to the Northern Regional Hospital, where medical personnel treated him and later classified his injuries as grievous harm. Following the police investigation, Brian Bull was charged with grievous harm. Sources also allege that this is the second stabbing involving Brian Bull in Guineagrass Village this month. According to those sources, the alleged victim in the previous incident chose not to make an official report out of fear. People's United Party PUP Council aspirant Tommy Zetina has withdrawn his application to contest the party's upcoming municipal convention in Corozal Town, citing the need to focus on legal matters currently before the court. Zetina was one of the candidates running under the banner of mayoral candidate Shahari Casanova Rogers. In a statement issued today, Zetina said the decision followed careful consideration and reflection as he works to address the case against him. He apologized to the PUP, his colleagues, and supporters for any inconvenience or damage the situation may have caused. I want to assure everyone of my innocence, Zetina stated, maintaining that the allegations do not reflect the truth. He said those who know him can attest to his character, adding that he loves his common-law wife and children and believes the accusations were influenced by circumstances at the time. Zetina expressed confidence that the facts would emerge during court proceedings. Despite stepping away from the municipal race, he reaffirmed his loyalty to the People's United Party, Team Rogers, and the Corozal community, pledging to continue supporting the party in whatever capacity he can. Zetina says withdrawal comes as he is being investigated over allegations that he threatened and assaulted his common-law wife following a trip to Chetumal, Mexico on Sunday. Police detained Zetina pending investigations into reports of threatening words and harm. According to police, Zetina's 28-year-old common-law wife, Iris Gonzalez, reported that she, Zetina, and her cousin had spent the day in Chetumal on July 19th. She told investigators that Zetina had been consuming alcohol throughout the day and became increasingly aggressive towards both women. Gonzalez alleged that shortly after 9 p.m. while driving near the Mexican immigration building on their return to Belize, Zetina accelerated the vehicle and threatened the occupants, reportedly saying, "I will kill Uno and I'm afraid for dead." She said she attempted to calm him as they continued towards the Belize border, fearing for their safety. Police say the vehicle later stopped in the parking lot of Princess Vegas, where Gonzalez's cousin exited and sought assistance. Gonzalez further alleged that while she remained inside the vehicle, Zetina told her, "The next time I'll kill you," leaving her fearful for her life. Security personnel and a police officer responded to the scene, and all parties were escorted to the northern border substation. Police investigations into the matter remain ongoing. This dramatic development without a doubt reshapes the race ahead of the upcoming PUP Municipal Convention in Corozal. With the departure of Zetina from the contest, Shahari Casanova Rogers' team has been reduced to just 6 members, including Rogers herself, as they prepare to compete against Regal Vegas' full slate on Convention Day. Because the deadline for applications and candidate interviews has already passed, party rules prevent Zetina from being replaced, leaving Rogers' team short by 1 candidate. When Ctv3 News spoke with Rogers today, she declined to comment on the legal charges now facing her former teammate. However, she made it clear that her focus remains on the convention and the future of the party.
The application period is closed, and so there will not be any replacement for Mr. Tom. I am willing, because it's a PUP convention, I am willing to work with everyone. So at the end for Mr. Tom, I am willing, because it's a PUP convention, I am willing to work with everyone. So at the end of the day, again, it's a PUP convention, and I'm open to work with everyone.
Do you believe that his withdrawal will affect your team in any way at this point in time?
No, it will not affect or impact my team. We have been working, and we have been receiving positive feedback.
Even though she is 1 candidate short, Rogers says that she and her team continue on the campaign trail with confidence and optimism, at the same time listening to the concerns of Corozaleños.
Well, people have been very receptive and open to the plans we have for the development of Corozal. Okay, what we have seen is that there is a need for major development in terms of the streets, in terms of the drainage, as well as the sanitation area. So we believe that this team is ready to bring about these changes in Corozal Town.
Rogers said she is prepared to work alongside whichever candidates are ultimately chosen by delegates, emphasizing her willingness to collaborate in the interest of moving the party forward, regardless of the outcome of the vote. A growing disagreement over who should be appointed to Belize's criminal courts has exposed a rift between the country's two leading legal organizations, reigniting discussions about judicial appointments, equal opportunity, and the future of Belizean attorneys within the legal profession. Belize's legal community is represented by two professional bodies, the Bar Association of Belize and the Association of Defense Attorneys, ADA. While both organizations advocate for the interests of attorneys, they have recently found themselves at odds over the appointment of judges to the criminal bench. For several years, the ADA has maintained that appointments to the criminal courts have overwhelmingly favored the foreign nationals, leaving qualified Belizean attorneys overlooked. The association has repeatedly stressed that its concerns are not directed at the competence or professionalism of the foreign judges currently serving. Instead, it argues that Belizean lawyers should receive priority consideration whenever judicial vacancies arise.
We got senior magistrates who have sat on the bench years and years and years. Very try to listen. There are judges right now sitting in the court who were not even magistrates where they came from or anywhere. They were never a magistrate. Worse, they were never a judge. Nobody even. So I think that the people who apply are not up to standard. There are persons in this country who have been attorneys more than a decade ago, who have given up, because that is what we do when we go and work in the public sector. You give up the better benefits of the legal profession. The legal profession is a lucrative profession.
We are not saying that the judges who have been selected are not competent. We're not saying that we have anything against our CARICOM brothers or sisters.
Here I am and I'm sitting and I'm saying, okay, so these people who are being appointed, what do they have over somebody like myself? And the truth is, the only thing they have is that they're not Belizean. Those who sacrifice and sit on the bench is because they're thinking higher. And if at some point you're stopped with no reason, I don't know what they use, I don't know what was the criteria, I will tell you at some point, I didn't even get acknowledgement that my application was even received. All I had the day they announced that thing came out from the cabinet is when an email came to me to say, sorry, your application was not successful, nothing else. Your bench is supposed to be reflective of the people who it serves. And I'm not trying to discriminate. I'm not trying to, yes, we have CMSE, but the bottom line is that even if you look at that, it tells you about protecting your own, your industry, your country, before you're able to let in others. I've appeared before some of these judges, and I will tell you, I have no difficulty with any of them. But at the end of the day, you know how good it would feel for me to be appearing before my own, who understands my Creole, who understands what it means to go back a gungolo. Do you think they know what is gungolo?
So is this simply a negative effect of being a part of CSME, that you as attorneys are being impacted?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Because CMSE give you an opportunity, yes, to go within the Caribbean. But of course, that is to fill vacancies and areas in which there are shortage. We are not short of judges. We are not short of attorneys here, competent attorneys. We all went to the same law school, you know. We learned the same things. And some of us went further, would have gone and educated ourselves with masters.
The issue escalated after what the ADA described as a leaked draft statement, prompting a sharp response from the Bar Association of Belize. In its reply, the Bar Association expressed concern over the ADA's position, arguing that judicial appointments must remain free from discrimination based on nationality. The association emphasized that the selection of judges should be guided by merit, qualifications, and the principles of fairness rather than a candidate's country of origin. The ADA, however, insists its position is rooted in protecting opportunities for Belizean legal professionals. The association contends that while Belize is a participant in the Caribbean Community CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME, which promotes the free movement of skilled professionals across member states, the country should still ensure that Belizean attorneys are given the first opportunity to fill available positions on the bench. Belize's proposed whistleblower protection legislation remains under discussion as government continues to examine how best to shape the law before it is introduced. Attorney General Anthony Sylvester said the process is still ongoing, noting that considerable work remains to ensure the legislation is appropriate for Belize's legal and social environment. He explained that government is carefully reviewing recommendations and feedback from social partners and other stakeholders.
My recollection is that the unions and other social partners have raised that as an issue, and so let's say that live issue, no final determination has been made, but certainly yes, as relates to consideration, that is something that has been made to the government. Yeah, and so it's still under review. No?
And for the channels that whistleblowers can go to give their statements, right now most of those channels, I think it's 14 channels, are public sector. Are there any considerations to include media and maybe unions?
So as I said, so that is something that's under review. So I wouldn't want to actually cast the government by saying yes or no, but simply to say that it's something, and the entire legislation and the process of having better, I guess, accountability. That is something which is very live for consideration by the government. No?
Coming up next, the Draft Broadcasting Bill 2026 strengthens BBE enforcement powers and introduces tougher content regulations. Stay tuned.
Money travels fast, so make sure you check it before you spend it. Here are 4 easy ways to know your money is real. Look, feel, tilt, and check. Look closely at your note by holding it to the light to see the watermark and the note value. Notice how the see-through image completes itself perfectly. Feel for authenticity. Run your fingers over the raised portrait and the bars on the edges. 1 bar for the $2 and up to 6 bars for the $100. Tilt the note to see the hidden value appear. Look for the moving images on the security thread and holographic shimmer on higher denominations. Check closely. Use UV light or a magnifying glass to find hidden images and microtext. Remember, handling counterfeit money is illegal. If you spot a fake, report it to the police immediately. Look, feel, tilt, and check. Know your money. Check it before you spend it. A message from the Central Bank of Belize.
It's easy to sit at home and blame the government for crime. A lot of people do it. Politicians do it all the time. It's like a game. Gang members shooting each other or innocent citizens. Blame the government. Blame the police. Narco players executed because of a drug deal gone bad. Blame the government. Blame the police. Domestic violence turned fatal? Same thing. Every murder, no matter where, no matter why, same blame game. But our children weren't born criminals. When did they become murderers? Who taught them their values? Who taught them about right and wrong? Where are their parents, their families? It's not too late to save your child. It's not too late to raise your child right. Keep them in school. Keep them off the streets. Teach them the value of hard work. Teach them honesty and integrity. Love them before it's too late. Stop the blame game and let's all be the village that raises our children. A message from the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Violence Prevention and Enforcement Unit.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
The government of Belize has released the Draft Broadcasting Bill 2026 and Draft Broadcasting Regulations 2026 for public consultation, inviting broadcasters, media professionals, businesses, and members of the public to review the proposals and provide feedback before the legislation is finalized. If enacted, the new legislation would replace the current Broadcasting and Television Act with a modern legal framework designed to regulate broadcasting across traditional television and radio, as well as internet-based and streaming platforms. According to the draft bill, the proposed legislation seeks to modernize the country's broadcasting sector by establishing updated licensing requirements, strengthening regulatory oversight, supporting the production of Belizean content, and creating clearer standards for broadcasters operating within Belize. The draft legislation also proposes new measures to address emerging forms of broadcasting that have developed with advances in digital technology, including online broadcasting services and streaming platforms.
Broadcasting has evolved dramatically. Audiences now receive content through radio, television, streaming platforms, online channels, mobile devices, and services that did not exist when Belize broadcasting legislation was first developed or last amended. The challenge before us is clear. Our framework must be modern enough to meet global standards while remain firmly grounded in Belize realities, values, and development needs. For that reason, the BBA began a comprehensive modernization process in 2002. Through years of consultation, surveys, and review of policy and legislation, we listened carefully to broadcasters, content creators, regulators, consumers, and other stakeholders across the sector. The message from stakeholders has been consistent. Belize broadcasting framework must evolve so that it's clear, fair, enforceable, and ready for the digital age. Stakeholders raised important concerns about copyright protection, unauthorized retransmission, defamatory content, privacy, indecent material, and the need for appropriate content standards. These are not minor issues. They go to the heart of public trust, professional responsibility, and the credibility of broadcasting in Belize. At the same time, modernization must support innovation. The proposed reforms recognize today's marketplace by creating clearer categories for radio, television, free-to-air services, streaming providers, and multi-channel subscription broadcasters. This will ensure that all players understand their obligations and that regulation is applied fairly across different platforms.
Members of the public are encouraged to review both the draft broadcasting bill and the accompanying draft broadcasting regulations and submit their views during the consultation period. Officials note that the documents remain draft proposals and may be amended following feedback received from broadcasters, industry representatives, and the public. Another key feature of the proposed Broadcasting Regulations 2026 is a stronger push to ensure Belizean content remains accessible to viewers and listeners across the country. The draft regulations would require certain broadcasters, including cable television providers and multi-channel streaming services, to carry a minimum number of certified domestic channels as part of their basic service packages if the minister establishes such thresholds by order. The goal is to guarantee that locally produced programming continues to have a place alongside international content. To qualify as a certified domestic channel, a broadcaster must hold a valid Belizean broadcasting license, operate on a continuous basis, and comply with all applicable laws, including copyright requirements. The Belize Broadcasting Authority would be responsible for certifying these channels, maintaining an official list, and updating broadcasters whenever changes are made.
This is called the Domestic Content Support Fund. And so you would have heard that there was a lot of focus on Belizean content. How do we push for Belizean content? How do we make sure that you get your content on local television, local subscription packages, and the like? Now, what you will see when we discuss some of the other sections when it comes to must carry and may carry is that if, for example, you are a broadcaster that has a channel and you qualify for must carry, the general principle and concept of must carry is that the broadcaster must carry your channel free of charge, meaning you will not be paid for that content, right? Because it is a requirement that it is carried. In exchange, in a properly working copyright environment, which Belize is not right now, in exchange, what you should receive when your content has to be carried is royalties. Because your content is carried, it must be paid. But we are not in a properly functioning copyright society yet, where royalties are being properly and fully paid. So the solution to try to help with that is the Domestic Content Support Fund, where the BBA will be required to issue annual grants to those domestic channels which qualify as must-carry channels to help you to offset the cost of providing the content which is now required to be shown in a package. And there's a whole process of you showing interest to become a channel, you meeting certain criteria, the minister publishing, and so on. So it's a very complex process, but that's just it in a nutshell.
Part of this would also include emergency broadcasting rights given to NEMO to allow for the mandatory broadcasting in times of emergencies.
Part 9 has to do with offenses and penalties. There are various offenses and penalties which we will look into. There are increased fines, and then there is a general penalty. Then we have the final section, which is the miscellaneous section. We have new aspects like the emergency broadcast section. This is done further to the request of NEMO, because I don't know if you're aware, but a lot of these places that are having earthquakes now, tornadoes, etc., they actually rely on a public service that interrupts the broadcast and says, tornado alert, earthquake is coming, flood is coming, and it interrupts anything you're doing. If your TV is on, it disrupts your TV. If your radio is on, it breaks the transmission on the radio so that the emergency broadcast can be announced. And so this is where we are going with this provision. We are now putting in place that NEMO can issue an emergency directive and can require that it be broadcast over your channels, and that you will be required to break your transmissions in order to do emergency messaging. I know they're also working on this for telecoms, where text messages and so on will be automatic. So, but that's a PUC conversation.
Proposed measures are intended to strengthen the visibility of Belizean programming, promote local voices and culture, and ensure that domestic broadcasters remain readily available to audiences as the country's broadcasting industry continues to evolve. One of the biggest changes proposed in the draft Broadcasting Bill 2026 is the introduction of a new licensing system that extends beyond traditional radio and television to include online broadcasters for the first time. As more Belizeans consume news and entertainment through digital platforms, the proposed legislation seeks to regulate a wider range of broadcasting services by creating 7 distinct licensing categories. These include audio broadcasting services, video broadcasting services, free-to-air broadcasters, multi-channel streaming broadcasters, multi-channel linear broadcasters, broadcast resale and marketing services, and national online broadcasting services. The inclusion of national online broadcasting services marks a significant shift in Belize's broadcasting landscape, recognizing the growing influence of digital news outlets, online media platforms, and other internet-based broadcasters. However, the draft bill also acknowledges that not all online broadcasters operate at the same level. It proposes that smaller national online broadcasters could be exempt from obtaining a license if they meet criteria established by the Belize Broadcasting Authority.
Exemptions are to be prescribed for national online broadcasters to consider that licensees should only be those that meet criteria such as commercial benefits of the broadcast, audience size, availability and accessibility to the broadcast, and frequency. So, the way this act will work is that once you broadcast online, you will fall within this act. The question becomes whether you should be licensed for that purpose. And how does the BBA decide who should be licensed or not? Now, let's say, for example, I have something to say to the public. I go on Facebook and I go live. But I have, I don't know, maybe 900 friends. I have never gone further than that on Facebook, right? In this sort of situation, I could go live to my 900 friends. Maybe 20 of them will watch me live. It's limited. The public can't view my page. The public can't view my live. So if you report me to the BBA will look at that and say, well, how many people Marissa really may reach during that live? How many times Marissa do a broadcast? Does she do a weekly podcast show? She have sponsors? BTL the sponsor she credit, or, is there a commercial benefit being derived from her online broadcast? That's a consideration. How frequent does she broadcast? That's a consideration. Who has access to her broadcast? Is it the general public? Is it a special group? Is it a very small group? That's a consideration.
The proposed licensing system is intended to provide greater regulatory clarity while recognizing the rapid growth of internet-based broadcasting services. As with the rest of the draft broadcasting bill, the proposed licensing framework is subject to public consultation before any legislation is finalized. The Ministry of the Attorney General is currently processing more than 30 requests submitted under Belize's Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, an indication that more Belizeans are making use of the legislation to access public information. Attorney General Anthony Sylvester said the growing number of requests demonstrates that the public is becoming more aware of the mechanisms available to obtain information from government agencies. He explained that ministry personnel are actively working to review and respond to each request in accordance with the law. While emphasizing the importance of transparency and public access to information, Sylvester noted that the Freedom of Information Act also contains specific exemptions. Certain information may be withheld where disclosure could compromise matters such as national security, personal privacy, ongoing investigations, or other protected interests outlined in the legislation. The Attorney General stressed that the law is intended to strike a balance between promoting openness and safeguarding sensitive information. He added that the ministry remains committed to assisting Belizeans who seek information through the FOIA process while ensuring that all requests are handled fairly and in compliance with the Act.
I should point out that this is in the history of Belize an exciting time because this is the most that we've FOIA requests that we have in history. So most FOIA requests, they're usually submitted and they go through our office. I saw a check today. I think since March 2025, we probably had about 30 or so FOIA requests. So everybody is busy, and as it should be. I mean, the government should be held to account. Now, as it relates to the exemption aspect, that's in the legislation. There's a part that deals with what is exempted, and of course, with most laws, at times there are aspects which, as you refer to it, there may be gray area. It may not be clear, and so when a request is made and a particular ministry or authority indicates that it's an exempt document, the process that follows then is that you would apply to the ombudsman, ask for a review of that decision, and either party, either the government, the statutory body or the authority, or the applicant, if they're not satisfied with the decision of the ombudsman, could proceed to the High Court. So it's an involving process, it's a process which allows for the development of the law, because as you said, it's something that has been whilst it has been enacted since 1995. It's only of recent memory that we've had such a robust use of the provision. Again, which is healthy as part of a evolving democracy.
The draft Broadcasting Bill 2026 also proposes a strengthened compliance and enforcement framework that would give the Belize Broadcasting Authority new powers to ensure broadcasters operate in accordance with the law. Under the proposed legislation, broadcasters will be prohibited from airing obscene, indecent, or profane language in a manner that violates the standards established by the Belize Broadcasting Authority. Licenses found in breach of these requirements could face enforcement action, including financial penalties imposed by the authority. The bill is intended to promote responsible broadcasting while ensuring content remains suitable for the viewing and listening public.
The regulations will have a schedule. The Code of Conduct regulations will have a schedule of words. So it may be the first legislation where you'll have 20 bad words just lined out, because you have to state in our lingo when, and I will say the word, Jules Dungan, I would have selected teacher, but in our lingo, maybe when you said that alone, mother, maybe in our lingo, that's not offensive. Maybe it is. So does it go in the schedule? If it goes in the schedule, then every time Jules says it, there's a fine, right? And so that is the way. When we get to the Code of Conduct regulations, there will be consultations on this. So bring every bad word that you know to that consultation, and it will be duly considered as a part of the schedule, right? So.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is a distinct honor to be here in Belize for the launch of the Caribbean Development Bank's Basic Needs Trust Fund 11th program, BNTF 11. For more than 4 decades, BNTF has stood as one of the bank's most visible and impactful instruments for community-based poverty reduction. Here in Belize, the legacy is clear. Over the past 25 years, BNTF has completed 79 sub-projects in vulnerable communities at an estimated cost of $23.79 million United States dollars. Through BNTF 11, we have begun a new cycle of investments. This investment of more than $5.2 million United States dollars represents far more than approved financing. It represents a renewed commitment.
BNTF has supported transformative investments in education, water and sanitation, community infrastructure, livelihoods, and social development. Through BNTF 11, we have an opportunity to build on that legacy by ensuring that our investments respond directly to the needs of our people, particularly the most vulnerable among us.
The new school building has made a huge difference for
me and my classmates. The improvement to our school have made our learning environment cleaner, safer, and more comfortable. Thank you to the Caribbean Development Bank, with the Social Investment Fund, the government, and everyone else who helped.
No one must be left behind. Not that child attending school in rural Toledo, not the farmer in Orange Rock, not the family in Corozal, not the communities that continue to face challenges accessing basic services.
Today will be the inauguration of the backup water system. This will be able to assist the Pomona Water Board to expand, and if there's a breakdown with the current system, this can also be a backup. There are times when, especially in the dry season, when the current system might run low or might run dry, and that by itself creates a problem to fetch water. So we are hopeful that if this is not used as much right now, when the other system runs low, this will kick in.
We must ensure that people have access to clean, safe, potable water, just like everybody else across this country. What you see here today is an investment of over $160,000. It includes all the pipes that you see here. We also have
The most difficult part that hinders development is the access of water. We have reduced significantly the amount of people that were deprived from accessing a basic need such as water.
I am elated, very happy to be here, receiving the system. I think everybody would be very happy, very happy.
When we call it, we have no water, no nothing. That was an empty spot, but it's home now. They have a pipe right out there, so it's still okay, just that we had to reach up to get the water. I cannot wait to have it reach to our door.
Malaysian consumers will not see an increase in electricity rates over the next year after the Public Utilities Commission PUC confirmed that tariffs will remain unchanged until June 30, 2027. However, Belize Electricity Limited BEL will operate under a closely monitored system that allows limited adjustments to power costs only with regulatory approval. The Commission's final decision issued on July 17 concludes the 2026-2027 annual review proceeding and affirms the position outlined in its initial decision released earlier this month. While BEL has proposed an automatic monthly cost of power adjustment COPA mechanism, the PUC instead approved a one-year regulatory sandbox designed to test the process under strict oversight. Under the arrangement, BEL may request monthly COPA adjustments, but none can be implemented without prior authorization from the Commission. The decision follows a public consultation period held between July 1st and July 13th, during which BEL was the only organization to submit comments on the proposal. According to the PUC, the COPA mechanism is intended solely to account for differences between the reference cost of power approved by the Commission and BEL's actual expenses for purchasing electricity. It is not intended to recover any other operational cost. As part of the regulatory sandbox, BEL must submit a comprehensive COPA application within 15 days after the end of each month. Each submission must include detailed financial and operational information and will only take effect after the PUC issues a formal approval order. To protect consumers from significant fluctuations in electricity bills, the Commission has imposed a cap of 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour, both upward and downward, on any approved adjustments. Any COPA charge or rebate will be listed separately on consumers' electricity bills and may only be applied to offset the cost of purchased power. The regulatory sandbox takes effect immediately and will remain in place until June 30, 2027. At the end of the trial period, the PUC will evaluate the results and decide whether the COPA framework should become permanent, be revised, or be discontinued. The judiciary will come together next month to celebrate the life and enduring legacy of Mr. Edmund Oliver Pennell, whose more than 6 decades of dedicated service to Belize's senior courts left a lasting impact on the country's justice system. The Honorable Madam Justice Louise Esther Blenman, Chief Justice of Belize, will host a morning of reflection on Thursday, the 27th of August 2026, beginning at 9 a.m. in the main courtroom at number 1 Treasury Lane, Belize City. The event will honor Mr. Pennell, who passed away on June 6, 2026, following an extraordinary career marked by commitment and faithful service to the Registry Department of the Senior Courts of Belize. The commemorative gathering will bring together members of the legal community, Mr. Pennell's family and loved ones, judicial officers, court staff, and members of the public to remember and celebrate a man whose professionalism and dedication helped shape the administration of justice in Belize. Throughout his distinguished career, Mr. Pennell became widely respected for his integrity, humility, and unwavering work ethic. His quiet but invaluable contributions to the Registry Department and the wider court system earned him the admiration of colleagues and all those who had the opportunity to work alongside him. Chief Justice Blenman has extended an invitation to the public to join the senior courts in paying tribute to Mr. Pennell's exceptional life of service. The morning of reflection will provide an opportunity to express gratitude for his lasting contributions, honor his commitment to public service, and celebrate a legacy that will continue to inspire future generations within Belize's judicial system. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, July 23rd, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.